movies and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome
to the
Regular Joe's Podcast.
Yay!
That's a fail. That's a fail. Okay.
That's not a fail.
No, that worked.
It worked for me.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? This whole episode is going to be experimental. So,
Yeah.
This is a little
I'm Todd
different.
Pleasant.
oh right,
Oh.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Dave Pisani.
Okay.
This episode is going to be a little different. Just go with it, people.
Or not, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Did you guys see that Shang-Chi trailer?
I did.
Yes, I did.
I think that looks
Interesting that Marvel made a kung fu movie. That seems to be not
a-
Marvel in any way.
Kind of legit looking kung fu movie in some
Yes.
ways.
I wasn't sure who that dude was. I didn't even get a chance to look him up, but he looks like he knows what he's doing.
He clearly knows what he's doing.
Did you guys? My brother's the only person I ever knew who read Master of Kung Fu.
I did.
Of course you did.
Of course, and I bet it was good.
Okay.
Right?
So, anyways, I will say, in fact, I'm not. My coworker Bill said this the other day. He said, if Guardians was C-list, okay, this is F-list.
Oh yeah.
So Marvel should do really well with this. They have this history of going deep catalog and pulling out things that people are not super attached to and people don't have the preconceived notions and just say, try this. And they did
Here's
that with
my
Ant-Man.
question, though. Will this tie into the larger MCU, or is this a standalone thing? Because it, from that trailer, it certainly looks standalone.
I
Anything
think
could
it
tie
ties
in.
into the larger MCU, but not in. I don't think there's a lot of tentacles at this point. I think it's going to be like one of your standard origin films, which is what they need to do.
So, like the first Guardians was, where they really didn't cross over into anything until they really
Very
got.
much so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shang-Chi could be hanging out with freaking female Thor at some point. We don't know.
Could do that, or be hanging out with Iron Fist, who really has nothing to do.
Ugh, God,
What scares me a little bit is that I read a headline today that the director said, I think it was a director, somebody involved in the production said that this is the best action movie Marvel's ever made. Don't say that this far
Don't
out
say
from the
that.
release.
Okay, I did read that also. And
Was it
I will
Ryan
say-
Johnson?
I will say, I don't.
That's
think,
speaking of that. Did you read
Save
that?
on,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, we'll get
save
there.
that
We'll get there.
headline. We'll get there.
So, I think it is. Can you think of one of these films that's specifically made to be an action film?
All of them. The
There's
Winter
so
Soldier.
much
No, I'm
choreography
saying
and fighting in
there's
these movies.
There is a genre that every single one of those films has fit in that is not action film. They've had a toe in action film or a foot in action film. I think this is probably the first thing that they've made specifically to be that.
But to me, the best action films are action films that also have story and heart, and that's what Marvel does so
agree.
I think
well.
Winter Soldier is a
If this
total
is
action
just
film.
but
The
fighting-
shootouts,
this thing's
the fight
other
scenes.
thing is this thing's other thing is a martial arts film. Whereas the Winter
Now, is it a
Soldier's other
spy
thing was
martial arts film? Because that could be.
Yeah, that's kind of his history. But also, I mean, they're introducing the Mandarin proper into the MCU. So, I actually think they need some villains with legs that they can use, and I think it's a good idea. It totally changes his backstory, but it works.
It's not
can't
Ben
really-
Kingsley playing him either. So.
Well, Ben Kingsley was playing a faux Mandarin.
No, I know that, but there are going
And
to be
that's-
people that
and I-
don't get that.
Yes, but I think that's the whole point. I think that it actually makes Ben Kingsley's Mandarin better when you find out there really actually was a Mandarin, and it's.
Oh, that is Aquafina. I thought I recognized her from the trailer.
Yeah.
She's actually kind of funny.
So it's I don't know. Like I said, I think it looks promising, and I'm definitely interested in it. The Shang-Chi comics I liked were very kind of spy-ish with a martial arts thing tied in there. I don't know whether this is going that way.
Yeah, he's an actor who studies martial arts and stunt stuff, so that's good.
I mean, I'll say I'm probably the least excited going into this than I've been about any other Marvel movie ever.
but that not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, wait. The Eternals?
That
Well,
hasn't out
I'm
yet.
talking about things that are coming up and announced. And I mean, I know Eternals is out in the distance, but
It's not
even
that
Guardians.
distant. The Eternals is I think
it's
right
after
this.
Shang-Chi. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that I'm less interested in. This probably more interested in. This is a nice, I think, a side avenue for them. If they can make this work, it shows a lot of potential. So
It feels like it could be what Enter the Dragon would be, a remake of Enter the Dragon. I feel like there's something there.
Especially given that Shang-Chi was clearly a ripoff of the Bruce Lee craze. I mean, he even looked, a lot of people drew him as looking just like Bruce Lee. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So again, Ryan Johnson wants to direct The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I'm all
don't
for
let him
it.
anywhere near it.
I'm all for it.
Of course you are. It'll give us a reason to wear our Ryan Johnson suck shirts.
Oh, we haven't wore that in a while. I need to be wearing that.
So, what I think is, no. And I think it's just like to get people talking. I think it's
course.
It's not.
It was
He
just fun to read all the
He
comments.
just got a huge deal at Netflix. He doesn't need... Just go do your stupid Knives Out movies. We don't need
For
you
like
involved
some
in Star Wars.
ridiculous amount of money.
Yes.
The-
Good for him, by the way. But stay away from Star Wars.
I refuse
there was,
to watch Knives Out.
Did
I
you,
watched it.
Barry,
It's fine.
did you read? I like Knives Out. I thought it was good.
I hear it's good. I don't care.
I don't think it was as special as people claim.
No.
But I think it was good. Barry, did you see the Ryan Johnson story on Geek Tyrant?
No.
Okay, so it begins. Trigger warning. This post includes information about Star Wars The Last Jedi director Ryan Johnson wanting to direct an episode of The Mandalorian. I know how a lot of fans feel about Johnson's involvement in Star Wars and never want to see him near the franchise again. So trigger warning.
Well,
the
at least
comments.
This is what this guy's baggage is. This guy's never going to be allowed to put a second of Star Wars on film.
And I think
should.
that Filoni and Favreau are well aware and know better.
Yes. Yep.
There's like
they like the
it's
guy.
like 10 comments. No, F you suck. And then there's a comment that said, Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. I'm all for it. Like,
Yeah.
who are these people? Is
Signed
anyone we
Ryan
know?
They're
Johnson.
either people that don't understand Star Wars or they're people that just like to be, incendiary.
Yeah. That's true.
Without going down this path too far.
No,
again.
go down.
Let's go.
Let's have fun.
Okay, I think you can like The Last Jedi if you have no attachment to Star Wars whatsoever. If you just look at that as a film, and you have a very casual interest in Star Wars, you could like that. That is a film you can totally like. If you have no investment in the characters
guess.
whatsoever,
I
no,
think
that's
you
what
could
it is,
like
though.
Polio,
It is someone who has no investment in
but
the classic
you
characters.
shouldn't.
Okay, if you came on to Star Wars with The Force Awakens, okay, that was your introduction to Star Wars, you can like that film. I've had
No, you
this
can't.
discussion with people.
So,
People are wrong.
So here's something that, and maybe this leads us to a conversation, and maybe it doesn't. But on that note, we did talk about a couple shows ago that we are still planning to do our individual top 100 movies and make a thing out of it. That
Despite it almost destroying the
breaking
show.
up the band, yes. That said, I've been working on mine, and so I consider myself a very dyed-in-the-wool hardcore Star Wars fan. I don't think either of you would disagree with
If
that.
you say The Last Jedi's on that list...
No.
we've
I'm not
got a
going there at all.
serious
Where I'm going
problem.
is,
Not
I'm
all the
now
films are
trying
on
to
the list.
figure out, of my 100 favorite movies of all time, how many Star Wars movies actually make it, because they don't all make the list. Even though
See,
it's my
that's the
favorite
thing,
franchise of all time.
Okay, so here's what I'm finding as I'm making and we won't spend too much time on this, but what I'm finding as I'm making the list is I'm kind of doing a representative thing, not intentionally.
Yeah.
And it's not intentionally, but I find that like I just if one film I am comparing the films against the other films in the series, and relatively they're getting pushed off. My love for certain films are pushing the films that I care less about in the series that I absolutely love out the bottom.
That makes sense. But
I
if
think it's
if I
tricky,
had to
though.
do this without if we hadn't been actually focusing on it, if you had just said to me, Are all the Star Wars movies within your top 100? I would of course said, of course they are, because it is my favorite entertainment franchise. But now that I'm actually doing it, they're not all making the list.
Yeah. And that's again. I'm seeing
I'm
the same thing with
torn
Marvel.
on that because I feel like I'm not putting all of them because I have some, and again, I mean, I'm not anywhere near. Meanwhile, Darrow's putting all 8 Harry Potters on his list. Like, Darrow, if you're listening, I don't get that.
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, we've pulled in to the 2 other regular Joe regulars to do this with us, so it's going to be interesting.
And again, we're not going to do this, but I will say, what is on your list doesn't necessarily determine what's on your list, because there's a cutoff point. So he may very well have listed all 8 of those films. It doesn't mean that
they don't make it.
4 of them are not going to be bumped. Number 102.
I'm having a hard time getting to 100. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not. I've got me more.
Oh my God, yes, yeah.
But figuring out what makes the list, and we'll
like
talk about this more.
115 right now, and I've got
really. I haven't really spent as much time probably on it. I've only really sat down and typed stuff in twice.
Yeah. And I will say this: it's a lot harder to do than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, the rankings.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah,
there's no question. One of the things that I just do is like I'm just adding things, and I'm constantly thinking what has to be on my list. Okay, and then that list, then that goes on to the list. It doesn't go place order, but I'm thinking of films I haven't thought of for years.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah. So
without getting into detail, I am finding I'm like, wow, I've got a lot from either this director or this actor or that actress, and I wasn't doing that consciously. I'm like, let me list all the Tom Hanks. I'm not using it as an example. I wasn't doing that, but when you really look at him as a whole, it's like, But we have plenty of time. This will be weeks in the making, people.
Yeah. I will say, I'm also building a list of movies I want to rewatch and find out whether I love them as much as I think I love them. Because I've got a curious number of films that I really, really like that I may have only seen once or twice. So, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Changing gears. Have either of you watched the Godzilla King Kong movie yet?
No, still not.
Yes, I did.
So I'm going to watch it. It goes off HBO Max this week. I think we've got April 30th. So we got a little bit, 10 more days.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
it's
they
a
do limited
for
time.
A month. Yeah.
This past weekend, I had never watched King of the Monsters. So I watched
that was okay.
Godzilla King of the Monsters this weekend so that I could prepare for the new one. Not that I think you need to. It's not like there's much of a carryover story I hear.
Same characters. It can't hurt. Did you watch Skull Island? Again, it has nothing to do with it.
I've seen that one a couple times, so I'm more familiar with that.
Captain Marvel's in it, so it's worth watching.
Yeah, she looks good in that movie.
She looks good in those Nissan commercials.
Yes, she does. But yeah, so I guess we'll talk about it after we've all seen it.
So there's a couple other things coming out. So there is this week. I'm always trying to find something that's going to be worth watching over the weekend. Stowaway on Netflix. It's a sort of someone stows away on a spaceship to Mars or something. Anna Kendrick, I have a thing for Anna Kendrick.
I have a hard time picturing her in a sci-fi movie, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. But also, I mean, maybe I'll watch it. Mortal Kombat, I mean, I never played the game, but there's not a lot on, so I think I'd watch it. That's a big budget movie.
It is a big budget movie that's just going to be a bunch of people beating the piss out of each other.
Yeah. Was it a movie before?
It was. It was.
It started as a video game, and
Dolph Lundgren or somebody, one of those, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, and
I think it was Jean-Claude, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, but Raul Julia was in it, and I think it was like the thing that he was most embarrassed about in his life.
Wait, is he wear like a Nazi-looking uniform in it, or is that another movie?
Yeah, he's M.
That's
Bison.
right. They made G.I. Joe toys based on that movie.
They did.
Remember?
Yep.
They made. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Oh, really? I never.
They're based
saw
on the
that
game,
movie.
not the movie. But yes, it was.
No, I think that they came out because of the movie.
Really? But it did not look like the. They looked more like the video game than the movie.
You said him, and that just picturing that in my head of that That weird
Yeah, no,
Nazi
he's got that peak,
looking hat.
He's got like the Nazi peak. That's what the character looks like.
Oh, Christopher Lambert. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Not good.
Boy, nothing quite dates a film like having Christopher Lambert in it.
Paul Anderson
year was that? I
directed
can't even
that.
f- oh,
95. Not as long ago as you
95.
thought. Because that's an 80s video game, isn't it? I don't really know.
I'd associate that with the early 90s.
I don't know anything about...
I can't even find it on IMDb. That's pretty funny.
Bridget Wilson was in it.
And that's why you thought Dolph Lundgren. So
Here we go.
I don't see Raul Julia in this. I think you're thinking something else.
really?
You and I are thinking the same thing because as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, of course he's in it.
It's not. It's a video game movie, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, it's not. Wait, hold on.
I'll look it up.
Street Fighter,
Street Fighter.
Oh, you're
yes,
right,
it
that's
was,
it.
and that's
yeah, it is Street Fighter.
And that's what they made the toys about too.
Okay, right. So that is because yes, it's Street Fighter. Yes, folks, and that is our once ever video game segment.
Well,
we'll now
let's face it.
embarrassly walk away from.
you
We
know
didn't
this.
collect
You know
those
the
toys or
scary
anything,
thing
so.
when you type Raul Julia's name into IMDb.
I know.
It says Street Fighter next. It's
It's
not like he's done.
This guy got a freaking Academy
Adam's
Award.
Family. Not that I love those, but
Yep.
eating something, buddy, something. He's been in real movies, and that's what comes up.
Yes, yeah.
And that's when he wear that weird hat.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
And I think they were similar games, so there's
don't
some
know.
understandable confusion. But Ming Na was in that one. She
You're
played
thinking
Chun Li.
Mulan. You're thinking Mulan.
No, I'm looking at Street Fighter on IMDb.
Okay.
Ming Na
So
was in it. Yes, our girl, and Kylie Minogue apparently was in it.
Oh,
Wow.
boy. That's a problem.
Well, there you
okay.
go.
Speaking of people and stuff,
Yeah,
Emilia Clarke is going to be in Secret Invasion.
I saw that.
I don't love her still.
Well, she was great in Solo, so I'm sure she'll be.
That's
great.
exactly why I don't love her.
I liked her in Solo.
After the Terminator.
No, that's
film,
not true.
she's
Terminator, whatever bad Terminator she was
yeah.
in.
She had a nuanced. I've said this a couple times. She's had a nuanced performance in Solo. If you would be willing to watch it again, you'd see it.
I've watched it like 3 times, and I do like the movie. I
Hey,
don't
when
think
Barry
she's-
rolls out nuanced, he's grasping at straws.
No, you know I'm pushing buttons when I say it.
He's just grasping at straws. It's like it's very understated. Yeah, it's barely there. Okay, he was a freaking cardboard cutout.
No, she was really a cardboard cutout in Genesis or whatever the hell. Unlike Terminator
Honestly,
Dark Fate.
I don't think she was
Todd.
bad in Genesis. I think she was playing some character that wasn't Sarah Connor.
No, she was horrible
I don't
in
think she
Genesis.
was bad in that.
so
I just don't think she was the
wooden.
character they cast her to be.
No,
They
she's
so
horrible.
overuse the line "Come with me if you want to live." Anyway, like she should never have spoken those words in that movie.
Oh, well, okay. You want to talk about the relative merits of that movie? There are none. But I'm saying it's not the worst thing she's done.
In my Chuck rewatch, I was delighted though when Linda Hamilton said, "Come with me if you want to live" on Chuck. It was great.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. So
That's funny. That's funny.
I will say I appreciate her cameos everywhere. Okay, she does a lot of that kind of like pop up, and it does Linda Hamilton, and
She was in more episodes of Chuck than I remembered.
she was in more
She
episodes.
was probably in
She's
about
his
a dozen
mother, right?
episodes. She played
She
his
was
mother.
also, again, just recently in Resident Alien.
Yes.
So.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we talked about the ending of that. I loved that. That whole season was great, but it ended well, and it's coming back for a second season.
We did talk about it because they even announced it on the show
Okay.
at the end of the show.
Oh, that's right. They did. They did.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I loved it. I literally not at all on my radar till Sean mentioned it, but it was great. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
So
Barry, you texted us something yesterday,
I did.
and I
Did either
refused
of
to
you
talk about it until now.
That's fine. Did either of you see it?
That is crazy.
All right. So there's a new Optimus Prime toy that's being released that they put on the Hasbro Pulse.
Hasbro Pulse. Todd, did you see it?
no,
It's already sold
Watch
out.
it now while we're talking
Yeah.
about it. It's just a little 2-minute clip.
It's already sold out, but it's a very advanced robot that transforms on its own based on voice commands. When it transforms into Optimus Prime, it's 19 inches tall.
19 inches tall. It's got 65 computer chips and some crazy number of servos.
Yeah, there's I think it was 65 servos and some crazy number of microchips.
Maybe that was it.
But it's app controlled as well, so you can drive it using your phone. It's got like all these different voice commands that it does things with. It's crazy that it was $700 and it already sold out.
There are tons. There's a.
We've bought as stupid things for.
I agree,
more money.
and look, the Sphero R2D2, as cool as it is, doesn't hold a candle to this. But
no,
but that was only $150.
That is.
Barry, how many times have you used the Sphero R2D2?
Like 5.
Okay, you might be one more than I. So I played with it 4 times, I think.
Every now and then, I'll charge it back up just to watch it kick the third leg out and roll across my desk, and then I forget about it.
Yep.
But this is what every Transformer, if and this isn't even the thing, if the Master Replicas or the Wand Company phasers are what every Star Trek guy dreamed of, this is what every Transformer fan wanted, a Transformer that transforms itself. It's freaking crazy.
It is cool. And it has Peter Cullen's voice, so all the voices are the actual Optimus Prime voice. It makes that transforming sound from the cartoons. It's pretty awesome.
Else. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Huh. Oh, that's cool. I will check that out. Barry, you know what that Sphero R2D2 is missing? Is a camera. Think about that. If that were a drone, how cool would that be?
Yeah, that would be cool. And if you could use it to record video.
And just kind of, even whether you could record video or you just drive it, you could just see its perspective as you're driving around. That would be kind of cool. I would not have gotten bored with it quickly, but it's, yeah.
You mentioned drone. I'm sure you guys have seen, there was a Big Bang Big Bang Theory episode where they find a drone in Wallowitz's backyard. Did you ever see that episode?
Yeah.
No.
So they find a drone. They get it work. It's broken. Somebody had crashed it by accident. They get it working, and they decide to look at the SD card that's in it to see if they can figure out whose it is to return it. And it turns out, they captured the owner in one of the videos, and she turns out to be an attractive woman. And anyway, long story short, they track her down, and she's so excited to get it back, and she's actually kind of attracted to Kuthar until she watches the video that it recorded of him talking about how he wanted to so get with her, and he said it in way worse than that. I'm so gonna hit that. All this crap. It was actually pretty funny, but I don't know. You said drone, it made me think of that.
Speaking of that,
awkward transition here.
Boy, if this is a segue to the ad, I'm gonna.
No,
be
this
stunned.
isn't a segue. Speaking of that, talking about get with. How about For All Mankind? Not only for everything else that was cool, but Gordo getting with his ex-wife in the airlock, just like we predicted.
Gordo getting busy,
just like we predicted,
at the absolute worst possible time.
Well, they didn't know yet.
Oh yeah, well they don't know yet. But here's the thing, and this is what keeps playing in my head: is the next episode Die Hard in space?
Oh, shit.
Because
spoilers, people, if you're not watching For All Mankind, we said it started out with a family drama, and there's still some of that, but the payoffs are coming. I mean,
the
it's
payoffs
crazy.
are fine. But I'm saying seriously, think about it. They could totally.
You think everyone
do that.
gets killed and he's got to take them
everyone
out?
Everyone else is like captured, and it's
and
just
Gordo's got to take them out.
Just the two of them,
That'd
and they got to
be
retake
awesome.
the station.
I'm just saying.
I was
jumping out of my chair Saturday morning. Everybody else in my house is asleep, and I'm like freaking out watching that, and I just wanted to scream, but everybody was asleep. That was one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen.
Oh my god! It's so
It's
good.
what I've been waiting for all season, and it paid off so well. It was so
it's
good.
funny, and it was even. I will say, a lot of the things that happened were predictable, but they still did such a good job with how they did it. That it was.
I didn't see that coming. I totally didn't see the So again, spoilers. I didn't see the Russians attacking the station. You know,
Oh no, I said they will occupy that station before the episode's over. And the other,
you know
thing
what
I
I
said
thought was going to happen? I
said
thought
this dude is going to wake up and want to defect, and then boom.
Oh,
the guy
I
wakes
didn't.
up and says,
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I thought in the Apollo Soyuz they would kill Poole and the other dude.
I thought that was an option too. That
'Cause
maybe when they went
the
to do
Russians
the handshake,
agreed to doing this Apollo Soyuz. There's 2 American astronauts. They killed 2 of theirs, or almost. They could kill those 2, and that's how they get their revenge back. And that's still
no,
going to happen.
Apollo Soyuz is going to be the thing that fixes everything.
How's that going to fix everything?
It's good. No, I'm telling you, that's going to be the public peace
15
moment.
Russian guys killed someone
Stormed the
and
US
broke
base.
into the space station.
after they killed another Russian guy.
I get that, but
No, but what I'm saying now, it's 1 for 1. Okay, so
well,
yeah,
it's 1 for 1 if they just stopped there, but they didn't stop there. They came through the window, and now they're.
I didn't see them coming through the window because I'm like, okay, they shot out the window, fine. Then I'm like, holy shit, they're climbing in the windows.
And I love that we're using M16s and they're using AK-47s. It's just
Yes.
awesome.
But the other thing with that is something has got to happen because they've got a finite amount of air in their spacesuits. So they've either got to take that station that is armed.
Well, but and that door that they are now needing to get through is locked from the other side. So
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's like this is something's or maybe the room that they're in controls the environmental controls too. So
it could be
it
something
was
that.
like
Yeah,
the
but
command center. It seemed
Yeah.
like the command center.
It could
so.
be. It could be a little Die Hard-esque. That could be cool. And I hope it's not Tracy that saves the day. And no offense to anybody, but
come
Gordo
on, you
needs
don't
a
want
win.
to see her in a wife beater crawling around in the air ducts.
Jesus,
She
you
practically
were
was in a
seeing
wife
that.
beater.
I know. That's
You're
what I'm
practically
saying.
seeing that
I'll tell you. Okay, wait a
as
minute.
it
This is
was.
my prediction. She's going to go back to her bunk. She's going to pop out that air vent, and she's going to crawl in that air vent, and that's how she's going to get
I don't
there.
think
She's
even
gonna
the
be
most.
come to the coast. We can have some laughs. It'll be great.
I don't think even her, as tiny as she is, can fit through that little air vent.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Come up to the moon. It'll be great.
But if Gordo saves the day and he comes back like the hero of, he'll
Oh,
totally
yeah.
be
There's
vindicated.
no way. Yeah.
He already got the girl, I think.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. If you,
I hope it's not just a one-off there because that may send him off the deep end if she just throws him a bone.
do you
and
notice? And I don't know if they were. Every time you saw her, especially in the back room smoking before he got there, she looked awful, depressed.
They were
and
intentionally making
she
her
looked
look pretty haggard.
so much better. I'm just not even emotionally and physically when they were together. You know, she's just miserable up there, and
Yeah.
I think, you know,
Well,
that's
think
the
about
love
it.
story.
I mean, she was like almost like their spokesmodel, right? And
This
they
was
send her
as
back up
much a
there,
publicity stunt as anything.
right? But then the 6 months aspect of it kicks in, and you're like, oh my god, I'm basically a space trucker for the next 6 months when I was on
and
Johnny
meanwhile,
Carson every
she's
night.
she's doing hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, was there, basically shuttled the people who killed the Russians there. So
I will say there's many great moments from this season. Among them, Brian and I were texting about it. The Star Trek reference this week was absolutely.
Oh yeah,
brilliant.
that was pretty good too.
That was great. But when they're coming in to retake the mining base, and she starts humming "Ride of the Valkyries,"
Yeah.
and then it could have, and then like everyone else joined in, and it was like ba-bum, and it like calmed it. You know, it was like ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, ba-bum. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, show is so good. It just really is. I mean,
I wish it had started off a little stronger, but it's certainly ending with a bang.
Again,
so.
I think, like I said, you need that drama for the category that it's in, and nobody's going to get an Emmy nomination for shooting Russians on the moon. This is what they're trying for. Speaking of which, the categories that Marvel submitted the Winter Soldier and Loki in for Emmy nominations are drama and not limited run series, which is what they entered WandaVision in as. So WandaVision is clearly one and done, that indicates they could do an additional series of both of those shows.
That makes sense, though. If you think about the way WandaVision ended, they can't really.
Oh no, there's no
Do
question
another
there. But my
season
assumption
of
prior
that.
to that was that everything was one and done.
Nah, but you want to know something? People, and I've seen this before, and we do a lot of Emmy consideration sort of business. People put things in categories they think they can win, regardless. And there's been some things that have been put in that are very questionable. Real dramas being put in comedy because they thought they could get away with it. So I don't know if that's. They've even referred to Falcon and Winter Soldier as limited series. So,
but is that based
I mean,
on
it's
the
certainly
number of
more
episodes,
limited.
or is that based on their plans for it?
no. I'm saying Marvel does. So
Right.
it could be one and done. I don't know. You know,
But it's,
you know how
it's certainly
all this-
more limited than WandaVision was, just based on the number of episodes. I mean, and their things are all over the place. What the hell is it called? The Star Wars series that's filming now, the Rogue
Andor?
One show. Yeah, Andor show. That's going to be 12 episodes.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's longer than anything else they've done.
What's Mandalorian? 8?
8.
Well,
I was reading an article about it, and they're saying even just based on the size of the sets that they've built for Andor, A, they're expecting it to go multiple seasons because they wouldn't have invested that much, and B, because it's longer, and I think they're expecting larger crowds of people and a more extras. They had to build gigantic sets for that.
so they didn't set it
and
a
they're gonna
month
be able to use those
before.
things for multiple productions.
They didn't set it a month before Rogue One. 'Cause
No.
that would not be smart.
It is not. It's set far enough back that K2SO is not even in the first season.
He's not.
In fact, seven of the 12 episodes, he's building K2SO from a kit. It's one of those Agostini things where they just keep mailing him a part to the robot.
Yeah, Alan
And
Tudyk has said he's not in the first season. That he knows
Really?
this. He knows that there is a place for him in the future, but not in the first season.
That's interesting. You know what else is interesting? Fanboy Collectibles. Check them out. Speaking of The Mandalorian, not one but two Ahsoka Tano's hot toys, one with and without Grogu. So this is the second thing you can get with an Grogu add-on.
Yep.
The Mandalorian and
the
Ahsoka.
second Ahsoka Tano figure in pretty much a year.
And isn't this like the 20-something Mandalorian Hot Toys figure that's
It would
been
be like
is
the
awesome.
20-something. If you count all the Stormtrooper variants, yes, it is like the 20. And yet, still no Grief Cargo. And there's somebody.
Cara Dune.
What's that?
Cara Dune, obviously,
well,
and
there
they
never
probably
will be,
never
but,
do that one.
But I'm
now.
saying, but those two principal characters aren't represented, and
They may come, and you know where you can get them since we're still in a freaking commercial.
oh,
you
sorry,
guys?
okay, sorry.
Is Fanboy Collectibles. There are pops and hot toys and sideshows and Kotobukias and all kinds statues, Batman, Superman, Red,
yeah,
Scarlet Witch.
a 1/6 scale tumbler that you might
Tumbler.
decide that you want sometime in 2022, even though you don't necessarily have a place for it.
But Todd's getting it anyway, and so should you. Check them out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. I just saw somebody from Newtown. Tell them Rega Joe sent you. On Facebook Marketplace, someone from Newtown, Connecticut listed a life-size Viper Mark whatever.
Seriously,
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is that?
does it have
And
a
he
trailer
made
to tow it with?
he made it as if it was like a real post. He must be joking around. It's like 2 of the 3 star engines work and blah blah blah, and it's a
Oh, that's
barn
funny.
find and all this. And I think the dude, I'm like, is this Troy doing this? Because it was someone in Newtown, Connecticut.
That's
I
crazy.
thought that was funny.
So I'm still looking at their website. You know what? None of us really collect Funko Pops that much, and I know that we each have
We
a
have
few.
some.
Okay,
whatever.
just Barry, before you go there, Freddie.
That's what I'm looking at it, and I'm saying it's amazing to me with such limited facial features how they can nail Freddie Mercury
they
like
nailed
that.
these
It's
things. And I'm
amazing.
telling you, that Freddie Mercury is so cool looking. That yeah.
I mean, there's no questioning when you look at that. If you know anything about music, that's Freddie Mercury. It's
I
like,
actually emailed that to a friend today.
yeah, it's remarkable.
It is, and there's certain ones where they just absolutely totally nail it, and it's a hairline, it's something that's just like
And with him, it's the mustache, but
it's
and they've got two of them. They've got the one with the cape and the crown, and then they've got the one with the white T-shirt. But
yeah.
they're
How
both
do you
really
capture?
cool.
How do you capture Freddie Mercury without teeth? I mean, seriously, and yeah. So
I just thought it was worth noting because it's so damn cool.
no, it's good. It's good. So
Speaking of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, while we're talking about it, I can't believe there's one episode left. I feel like...
Do we want to talk about the cameo from last week, or we want to save that?
let's do it. Yeah.
We talking about Elaine?
Yeah. I
don't
was
even get
surprised.
It doesn't even, like... So?
This is a significant character in the history of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay? And she is cast, and we're going to see her in movies.
Is she the power broker?
No.
She's not the power broker.
No. She was at
I was
one
confused
point
by that.
She was at one point Madam Hydra, but I think that storyline's out now. She was for several years, particularly in the 1960s, she was Nick Fury's love interest. And there's a really interesting controversy attached to her. The first time they hooked up, okay? This is in the 1960s. John Romita drew this. Basically, the way they showed that the two of them got together, they had one shot of like the two of them kissing, and then the next shot showed the phone off the hook, okay, like dangling, and that was too risque. In 1967 or 68, they had to go back and redo that panel, and they did it with. What they showed was his gun in the holster, like hanging on the back of the chair, and that's what they did. But the phone, the whole idea, the censors looked at that and said, "Oh man, they're totally having sex."
That's funny.
So in some early versions of that, in the printed version of the comic, it's that way. In the subsequent redos, they changed it, so it had the borderline offensive phone off the hook.
It confused me a little bit because I thought they were trying to imply maybe she was the power broker.
No,
I thought it was going to be a cameo that was somebody like we actually knew who they were.
Well, I did, but as
No,
soon as she
I
said
meant
her
like
name,
a character that we've seen already.
Right. Yeah, it's and again, like I said, a significant character and has appeared. It's been like a supporting character in Captain America.
So she's a bad guy.
No, she's kind of her own self-interest person. Again, she was a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a long time, and yeah, like I said,
I don't know that it's fair to her as an actress, but between Elaine and the character she played in Veep, so Selena, she's just so identifiable to me. She completely pulled me out of it when I saw that it was her.
I will say this is going to be interesting because it's a very different sort of character.
She's a little wacky, so there wasn't like a pure straight, thing with her. But
yeah,
I don't know. So,
but
did you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other thing is this character was supposed to appear in Black Widow. So,
who says she doesn't?
What's that?
Who says she doesn't?
I don't know, but I'm saying that was where this character was originally supposed to be appearing.
Well, that could be why they needed to get this show on the air and get Black Widow out.
And that's what anyway. my question is. Like, is this the introduction to her, or
maybe they recut Black Widow with her in it just so that it came after instead of before this?
Right. That's my question. Yeah.
So
right,
did you think
they could introduce her character and give her more background in that movie, which would have made sense because it was supposed to be first.
That is the classic image from her first appearance. So
that's not Elaine.
That is not Elaine. So, yeah.
Did you think new wings were in the suitcase?
Yes.
Until he opened it, and then this totally like the vibranium Captain America suit, right? That's what
Wait,
I
did
think.
you
I
see
think it's
inside of it?
wings.
I don't
No,
think it's wings.
You don't think it's wings?
I
thought they
think
got 'em
it
from
is
wings.
a vibranium Captain America suit,
Okay.
like a Black Panther type.
So this is
suit.
the thing. The Black Panther suit folds up to like nothing. And yet, I do think it's a Cap suit, and I think it's like semi-armored. I think there's like a chest piece, and
Totally.
there's
Or maybe
gauntlets
there's
and
wings
stuff like
built
this.
into it.
Do you think so?
Maybe.
I don't think so. I think
don't
it's
think so.
moving away from the wings, and I think if there's another Falcon, it's like I said a couple weeks ago, it's that
They
other
brought
guy.
that kid back,
The kid that they brought the kid back, and he left with the wings.
and he was going to fix him.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That's a little sloppy. That
I don't
like,
want a character named Falcon that doesn't have wings, but maybe they're not going to call him Falcon
He's going to be
anymore.
Captain America.
He shouldn't be Captain
I
America.
don't think
though.
he should either. But okay, two things. One is there's definitely a Cap suit in there, and Bucky's been saying for the whole series, you should never give the shield away, blah blah blah. But I do like the fact that it answers you're just a regular dude. You're lucky you could even catch that shield, let alone fight people. I mean, so
Which is why I think
here's a leg up.
if the Wakanda thing has got like an exoskeleton and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's like, make them, and then what's the other thing I was going to say?
Cheating a little bit though.
So it's taking super soldier serum.
I
So
guess.
is strapping wings on your back.
But that's a skill. He was a pilot. That was a skill that he already had, and he honed in a different way.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the wings, but it is what it. So Steve is dead. We've never established that Steve is dead.
I got that too. I was like, he was an old man at the end of Endgame, but when did they say he died?
I think as far as the world's concerned, he's dead. I think he could still show up as like a 105-year-old guy.
Wait, so the last time we saw him,
well, but to the world he may be dead, but to
That's
Bucky
what I'm saying.
and-
I think as far as the cover's concerned,
Well, no,
Captain
hang
America
on.
died.
They're
along
talking
with,
about him as if he's gone. To
Well,
each
they
other,
said
who
between
know that he's not.
themselves, Steve's gone.
Right. That's what I mean.
Right,
It's
it was
not,
just
it's
the
not like
two
it
of
was a
them.
news report. It's two guys that know he's not gone talking about him, unless he
Well, they
is
said gone and not dead.
yeah,
Where'd he go?
he could have just like gone back to the other world where him and Peggy had a whole bunch of children and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
So he really just came back to say goodbye, and then he went to like hang out with his grandson.
I
So why
guess.
don't you say no? Steve's gone to the other world, banging a 95-year-old Haley Atwell. That's what he's doing. And you would too.
You know, of course. I don't know.
Or Steve after Peggy died, Steve hooked up with her young and still hot niece. That's a little sketchy, but hey, in that world, that's okay. They do that stuff all the time. So
I guess.
Yeah, I wonder. You think they could put a what's his face? Sam gets into Captain America, does his thing, saves the world, and a little cameo of Steve sort of watching over him and nodding approvingly.
If he's on this planet, or if he's in this timeline, or whatever.
I don't know. It's a little all over the place. I just can't. I can't believe there's a lot of wasted space in 6 episodes or 5 that we've seen.
So here's an
agree.
odd one. Here to complete. I mean, if you got more to say on this, or I'm going to change topics.
I would just
topics.
say you can look at this in a couple different ways. You can look at this as like a movie that had way too much room to breathe, or a series where they really didn't know what to do with the time they had. And because at times it feels like a movie that just needed a lot of editing, but they kept adding story elements that just really didn't matter that much. And yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's not horrible.
No,
I think episode 4 was better than 5. 5 was okay.
Well, we've got the finale this week, which is crazy because it just doesn't feel like it should already be ending, but
No.
it is. So we'll see. Hopefully, it lands well.
So again, we have 2 finales on Friday night.
I know.
So
I got like nothing left to watch. I got a TiVo full of CW shows that I don't want to watch.
I was talking with my son Josh the other day. We were looking at our DVR, and I'm like, we've got 11 episodes of The Flash. 5 of them are from last season, and then I've got the 7 or whatever that have aired this season. And I'm like, I can't quite bring myself to delete them, but I don't have any intention of watching them either.
Okay, so here's a question. Is this the DC Marvel thing again, where like you could have watched a DC movie and been like, yeah, that was okay, unless you compare and contrast with Marvel, which is inevitable. Now, having seen like WandaVision and having seen, even Falcon the Winter Soldier and those kind of production values and stuff like that, does watching a CW show just seem ridiculous?
Not because of the production values, because of the stories. The writing is just horrible.
And
those were great series. But okay, we've all said at one point or another, "Oh my God, Flash is the best show on TV." Can you even recognize that or say why it was 3 or 4 years ago? I'm totally lost of how that was possible. Even Arrow was great in some seasons.
Like 2 and 3, yeah, I'll agree.
I mean, I don't have any recollection.
I don't think it's because we changed, though. I think that
it's not us, it's them.
They've just beaten some of it so far into the ground that it's hard to watch.
I agree with you.
So this is a jump the shark situation,
and their seasons
with no
are just
discernible
too long.
shark.
It's just the dragging out these uninteresting stories. I mean,
18 episodes a season is, for a show like that, is too much because it forces them into these just repetitive storylines and taking too long to get to the point.
I was trying to think of something the other day. Whatever happened to the storyline with Dr. Suresh? Did that just like end?
Ugh, and the bleeding, the thing, and the black stuff.
They ended it. They ended it, but it's not memorable. That's part of the problem.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Well, you had Harrison Wells, who you didn't know he was a bad guy, and then you find out that he's the Reverse Flash. That had more story to it.
But then they bring in the Council of Wells, and it's like, okay, if one Wells is a great character, let's have 7 of them, and it's just like, I mean, I get it. They ran out of ideas, but
yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's the problem.
Okay, so on the while talking about Flash running out of ideas, so Michael Keaton is now confirmed to be in the Flash movie
as Batman.
I don't think anyone said that definitively, but yeah, that's what he's going to be.
I thought I read a headline yesterday that said Michael Keaton.
People
is
are
playing
saying that,
Batman,
but there's no accreditation. There are acknowledgments that he's in the film in a role, but no one officially has said that he's playing Bruce Wayne or Batman.
But it's Flashpoint, Dave, so they can have multiple Batmans.
Yeah. Here's the thing, okay? Is this the same story we're going to see in the Spider-Man movie?
That's what I'm saying, right?
It just seems like these two things are going to hit like Civil War and Batman versus Superman, and one is going to be done really, really well, and the other is going to be like, oh, really?
Because they already said Affleck is going to be in.
Well, again, Batman. It's a multiverse thing, and
so they're going to bring in George Clooney's not going to do it. I'm telling you,
Dave.
Right now.
I've got Todd. Rather, I got an article from yesterday that says Michael Keaton's talent agency ICM Partners has confirmed the actor will return as Batman in the Flash.
Okay, good.
Maybe he'll be on the Flash TV show, and that'll make it better. No, I know.
Can't make it worse. So what I was going to say before, we're going now completely changing gears to the Obi-Wan series and the casting that we talked about, and we all were questioning Kumail Nanjiani, what character he might play. There's a bunch of speculation online, which I don't necessarily agree with, that he's going to play Kitster. Do you remember Kitster? It was Anakin's friend on Tatooine, who happened to look like what Kumail might look like now.
That could he's be funny.
I can't see them doing that, but could you imagine if they literally brought back an adult now to play Kitster? I don't remember Kitster. What was Kitster?
He was
Anakin's annoying little friend that was like...
He had a Greedo friend. He had
a Greedo friend, and he had...
Middle Eastern looking friend, I guess.
And he was the one who made the joke that, well, Anakin's never actually won a race, like, and they all like were like, oh my god, you haven't won. But he was kind of like a whiny kid that was Anakin's friend.
Okay, yeah, sure, could be.
That could be funny.
Yeah, I was laughing when I read that. I'm like, I guess they could do that. I mean, they're bringing back Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. Why not?
Particularly,
there's not a lot of characters.
I don't think people don't know who Darth Vader is. Not commonly. I mean, Obi-Wan does. Or does he? So that's the other question. How does Obi-Wan learn who Darth Vader is? Is that the story we're gonna get?
I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm here. Here I am. I'm in my cave. I'm doing whatever. Darth Vader shows up. Who's this guy?
Wait a minute. He smells a little bit like charcoal. He smells charcoal
like
and leather.
flesh.
I'm just
Who does
trying
that
to
make me
think
think
through.
of?
Smells like
Charcoal
burnt
and
flesh
leather.
and Padme.
I'm trying to think through Clone Wars and Rebels. Did he ever find out? Because Ahsoka battles Vader and realizes it's Anakin. It's possible Ahsoka could be the connective tissue.
That is your story right there.
Yeah.
It's discovering that they're each discovering that they're both alive.
Interesting. But there's got to be some flashback in this show because they're not going to get Hayden Christensen and have him be in the mask the whole time and you never see his face.
Or they take the helmet off and he's all charred.
I'm convinced there's going to be some type of flashback where you're going to see Anakin and Obi-Wan together.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. But look, they can de-age anybody now.
It's true.
He doesn't look so bad, does he?
No, Hayden looks pretty good, but he doesn't look like, he looked.
Well, neither of them does.
Yeah.
But honestly, hey, if they pick up from where they left off, you could make him look that way easily.
This will never happen, but could you imagine a scene where Vader confronts Obi-Wan and takes the helmet off and shows him that he's Anakin?
Oh my God, yes. That
could
would
be
be awesome.
Why wouldn't that happen?
As I'm thinking through this, the only thing that has to happen, I think it has to end probably ambiguous that Kenobi's dead. I think because Vader, I don't think would ever stop looking for him. So I think there has to be something where he thinks he's dead and doesn't expect him to be on Tatooine because there's no reason for him not to have gone back and found him.
There's that line in A New Hope that has always hung out there of when Vader says to Obi-Wan, you should not have come back. And people have been saying for years that maybe this isn't the first time they're seeing each other. Or that maybe it's not even the first time that this is Obi-Wan came to the Death Star.
I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks now, and I've been trying to think, like, what would be the story I would want to tell if both of them are in there? And them sensing each other, a la like Highlander, and realizing for the first time that they're both who they are, that they're who they are. Because I would assume that Vader probably kept like a list of all the Jedis that were hunted down and killed, but does not, has never gotten confirmation that Obi-Wan was killed.
What? Wait. Okay. We know Vader knows Luke. I don't know if it alludes to it in Star Wars. Certainly in Empire, he knows Luke exists and he knows he's his father.
He senses it.
Yeah. Well, what if?
Oh no. I think they get intelligence that tells him who was responsible for the destruction of the Death Star.
Okay, Vader and Obi-Wan fight, but what if he realizes Obi-Wan's looking over Luke, and that little part of his humanity is okay with that happening?
At that point, he doesn't know that.
No, he
exists.
doesn't. I think.
I'm saying, what if he finds out? What if he finds out in this show? When does he find out?
I think if he knew he had a son and or daughter, he would have been trying to get them to make them his apprentice.
I also think, like I said, Luke Skywalker isn't like Jones or Smith. I think when you find that the person who blew up your big ship is named Luke Skywalker, you might do a little digging and find out where he's from and whatnot and put the pieces together.
Yeah,
because a guy named Luke Skywalker who was raised by your half-brother okay, and his wife, that's not a hard thing to figure out.
I gotta say, they did a shitty job of hiding him. Like you
again,
didn't even change his last name.
Yes, okay, that's pretty weak. But the other thing is, I think Tatooine's the one place that Vader would never go back.
Well, when you put someone in witness protection, you don't put him next door to
Well, no,
to
you don't put him
Al
in their old
Capone
hometown.
and keep his last name.
But
the same.
if you go by what's said in the movie,
Oh boy, here we go.
but up until they went looking for the droids there, they had no reason. The Empire had no presence on that planet, and Luke said nothing ever happens here. This is the place that's farthest from the center of the galaxy.
End of the universe.
Yeah. So
wait. You think Vader found out about Luke somewhere between Star Wars and Jedi?
Yes,
and,
I believe that their intelligence
Empire?
through their network of spies, whatever. And God, I know I learned it might have been in a novelization or something from Empire, but he learned who was responsible and
well, but
What I'm
regardless of
saying
whether he
is-
learns who's responsible, there's lines of dialogue between Vader and the Emperor in Empire where he says the son of Skywalker is alive, or he's the son of Skywalker. I don't remember the exact dialogue.
yeah, and
but-
that's what I'm saying. And it's so he found that out somehow. I don't think he walked away from. Yeah, and also
saying if
to
he
go
finds
back on
out
the
in
witness
this-
protection thing, freaking Obi-Wan's using his last name. Okay, it's like.
I'm not changing my name. He's not changing his name. Where he grew up,
We're gonna
where he
hide
came
out
and
here.
slaughtered everybody. It's
Tatooine
just
is
not-
like the
Because really on Tatooine, everyone just goes by their first names. He's Luke, I'm Ben. That's all anyone's ever going to ask.
But in Tatooine, living on Tatooine is the equivalent of living in a cave in the mountains somewhere hiding.
Not
the
if
way
you're the
we're-
one. Not
what
if
we're
you
led to
came
believe.
from there.
Well,
Anyway, but listen.
Okay,
if
just
he,
to be clear on this,
if you really wanted to protect a kid, you wouldn't
he
put him
made
with,
one
with
movie.
Uncle and Aunt Beru.
He made
and
one
kid,
movie,
and
then
kept
made up
the rest
everything else afterwards.
Skywalker.
So this was
I'm
not a
saying-
grand plan.
Vader finds out about Luke in this series, lets Obi-Wan live because he's taking care of him. Okay, and follow this. In the timeline that we're seeing this, Vader's the worst guy in the world. But the thing we all really know is Vader redeems himself, in theory, at the end, and they want to feed you that glimmer of hope and make Vader not the worst guy in the world, that you see the potential of his redemption.
It's an
at the
interesting
end.
He's
storyline,
like one of
but I
those-
hope
do
they
shit
Vader's
like that
basically
all the
like one of those
time.
undercover cops that like kind of is a bystander as the people around that they're ultimately going to prosecute do crimes, but he doesn't take part himself. So like he doesn't push the button that fucking kills Alderaan. He just stands there and doesn't say, "Is there another way?" No, he just kind of goes along with it. Because later he's planning on redeeming himself when he testifies.
that
in court.
glimmer of hope-
that is
he only-
ridiculous.
He
That is
only
ridiculous.
redeems himself when it comes to his son.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, you don't kill all the Jedi children and then then clean your soul by saving your own kid.
Some psychopaths are like that.
But they don't.
Absolutely.
They're not lining up and
They're not Darth
okay?
Vader.
It's like
Darth Vader doesn't have that glimmer of hope until the very end. He is evil through and through. If he knew he had a son,
They're going to retroactively put that in him.
They better not.
Telling you.
They better
They're gonna.
not, because that is
I
going
hope they
to
don't.
make
I
the
really
show
hope they don't.
suck.
no.
Better not
this
do
needs
that.
to be. This needs to be.
They're gonna.
He never finds
here's-
out about.
and you're gonna like
Yeah.
it
No,
This-
I won't. I won't like that.
because somebody somewhere is saying we got to make this character. I'm not. How am I crystal sculling? I'm not
Because-
saying I like this. I'm just predicting it.
It better not happen. They know better. They know
They
better.
say somewhere is like we can't make him the ultimate evil. Let's give him a glimmer of redemption that we see.
I think the only
in
reason
end.
you bring Vader into this show is because the last minute of Rogue One was so badass that they want to show us more of that. That better be what it is.
No, I think they're moving like chess pieces against each other. I think you may have a scene of confrontation between them, but I don't think I don't think he's not gonna know about Luke until after the first film. And
I'm telling you, was I right about WandaVision?
No.
I know. Was I anywhere in the ballpark?
People, I'm writing
No.
this down. I think we have a show title. Once I write about WandaVision.
And you got to put the answer in there.
Yeah.
Just drop my pencil.
All right. So because we're not following a format, and you're probably not going to ask if anybody has any last thoughts.
I have something before you get to that.
Oh, okay.
How do we get the last thoughts?
Well, we're
wanna
an
show
hour
you-
already. I thought we were wrapping up.
No, we're not, because this is not following any format, but I have a package here that I received today.
What's in the envelope?
Do you have anything like this, Barry?
No.
To David Passani from Star Trek Set Tour.
Oh, I didn't order one.
You didn't?
No.
Todd, did you?
What's that? The T-shirt?
Remember a year ago or more, and I cannot find my order, of when Star Trek Set Tour was looking to get money because they were closed down. They were selling T-shirts. I ordered one.
I was
and
about 2 weeks. I was about 2 weeks behind you. So
And I got it today, and it has to be more than a year.
yeah. No, I did. I
And
did.
Yeah,
but I
it's
was
got to
behind
be
you.
around this time last year. We talked
And
about
I'm
it.
waiting for... I don't even remember which one I bought. I'm opening it live on the show. Constitution Class Starfleet Museum, Ticonderoga, New York.
Yeah, it's great.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm like... I even mentioned it when I went there this summer to the woman, and she's like, oh, email us, and I totally forgot about it when I got home, so I just wrote it off as whatever.
Yeah.
And it showed up
Look,
today.
I don't remember why I ended up not buying it, but I'm happy to support those guys any way I can. So
That's what I said. I'm like, all right, I spent $30 on a shirt that I didn't get. That's fine. If it helped them, I'm happy about it. But here it is.
all right.
Anyway, Barry, you were saying
Anything else before we go to the?
we have
Final
no format.
thoughts?
Say what you want to
We
say.
have no format.
All right. I had two things. One, I know that over the years, Dave and I have sort of made this the butt of a couple of jokes, but it is worth mentioning that Felix Sela did pass away since the last time we recorded.
Oh, he did.
He was 84, and I did a little bit of a deep dive on his IMDb earlier today, just to. It's amazing stuff that he was in that, like, you would not in any way think that he was in. He was in a lot of stuff, and he was in a lot of cool stuff that we liked. So I'm just going to run down some of this. He was Cousin It in the Addams Family. He was in HR Puffin stuff. This one blows my mind. He was Lucifer in Battlestar Galactica. Lucifer was a very tall...
Yeah, but he had that little pinhead.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was obviously Tweaky in Buck Rogers. He was in Star Wars as an Ewok.
He was the Ewok in the
He was the
hang
glider,
right?
He was the hang glider Ewok. It claims, and maybe this is true too, he was one of the Telosians in the cage in Star Trek. That's on his IMDb.
That
Really?
doesn't make sense.
It
thought
does
they
not
those were
make
women.
sense. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, but it's on his IMDb. So,
Okay.
and then he was one of the Dinks in Spaceballs, which were the equivalent of the Jawas. And he was an Emperor Penguin in Batman Returns.
Oof, sorry about that.
But he was in episodes of Bewitched. He was in a ton of episodes as, anytime... He was in The Monkees. Anytime they needed a short person, he was pretty much the go-to guy. I'm sorry, not a short person, a little person.
I was just going to say, did the term change?
No, I misspoke. I apologize for that.
Okay.
I hope I didn't offend anybody. But, we had seen him many times over the years at shows, and I've got a couple of his autographs on a few of my items. So, anyway, sad to hear of his passing. And I found out about it because I saw a tweet from Buck
Gil
Rogers
Gerard.
himself, from Gil Gerard. So...
And what did he say? What did Gil Gerard say?
I'd have to go back and look at the actual
He
tweet.
said something along the lines of, we worked together, we had fun hanging out at shows, even when he was telling me to go F myself. I'm
Right.
like, that sounds like the Felix we saw at some of the
we
shows.
saw, yes.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Felix.
Exactly. And then
Thanks for
today
your,
I
work.
read that a guy named Jim Steinman died at 73, who was an author, a musician and a writer, and he actually wrote the Bat Outta Hell album for Meatloaf, amongst many other
really?
big
Yeah,
hit songs. Yeah. So another one. Sorry to hear about his passing. That album has a lot of meaning for me from my early childhood. So love that album.
It does for me too. I spent an entire summer driving around a friend of mine's first car, with an 8-track tape player that only had the best of the Beach Boys and Bat Out of Hell.
Oh, jeez.
So we had fun, like a Bat Out of Hell. And I probably have listened to that album maybe more than anything else, other than Best of the Beach Boys. So,
yeah, he wrote a ton of songs. Like, you would not even, like, when you listen, you hear about some of the things he wrote, you're like, oh my God, he wrote for Celine Dion, Barbra Streisand, Barry Manilow, Meatloaf, tons of hit songs. Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart, I think, was his too.
Oh, really?
So, and if you think about it, there's kind of a style to that kind of song. He wrote these very, almost like Broadway show type rock songs. So
that is, I gotta say, that's Bat Out of Hell. I haven't listened to it in years, but that is almost like an opera.
Yeah,
totally.
You know,
It's the way it's put together, and he didn't just write the words. I mean, he wrote the music, he orchestrated the whole thing. So
yeah. Well, everyone rest in peace.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.